I bet you're wondering how I still have things to declutter, but here we are. I hope you're excited to spend a couple days with me getting things done and hopefully get some motivation. We're cleaning, doing a big declutter of my oldest son's room, and I even have a little bonus DIY upholstered bed project to share, so let's just get right into it. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I have so much I need to catch up on here at home. So my house is pretty much trashed right now. This past weekend was my birthday weekend, so we were super busy. All the cleaning took a back seat, and now I really want to get things back in order. I also have a little project I would like to do today. If you watch my channel, you might remember a couple of months ago I painted my headboard, but unfortunately the paint is chipping off and kind of wearing down in the exact same spot where I was having an issue to begin with. So I think I want to try and DIY upholster my headboard. We've got some fun things we're going to do today. I hope you guys are ready for some motivation. We are also going to be talking a little bit about Costway in today's video because they sent me over a couple of things for our backyard, and I'm so excited to share them because we have been having the best time ever enjoying these things, these new additions in our yard space, and Costway is where it's at for that type of stuff. So I can't wait to share that, but let's just get started on cleaning up today, and then we'll probably head to Hobby Lobby so I can get a little bit of fabric for my DIY upholstered bed project, and we'll just see where the day takes us. We're kicking off today's video with cleaning, but if you came to my channel specifically for decluttering, I have a really great one later on in today's video, so I wanted to put the timestamp on the screen here for where that begins in case you'd like to skip ahead. But for those of you who want to see the cleaning and the DIY headboard project, we're starting off with those two things first. It really doesn't take me a super long time to get things cleaned up these days. My latest struggle is finding the opportunity while both of my kids are home with me for the summer. I obviously care much more about making memories with them and doing all the summer things while we have the weather to do it. So I've been quite relaxed with myself this summer when it comes to cleaning. But like I said, once I do it, it doesn't take me long, and we can of course thank decluttering for that, as I've mentioned many times before. And I actually posted a video a couple of weeks ago all about healthy habits to maintain a clean and clutter-free home. So if you're needing some inspiration for that or more insight into how I keep things mostly clean on a daily basis, I'll link that video in the cards on the screen right here for you to refer to when you're done here. I definitely don't claim to be perfect or have a perfect home. I am far from it, but I think I've come a long way in the last year or so and wanted to share the things I've been doing to hopefully help somebody else. My daily cleaning looks a lot like tidying up a few things here and there, doing the dishes, making beds, a load or two of laundry, and then just some wiping down of surfaces and floors. I'm also a big fan of the robot vacuum. As you may know, I've worked with quite a few of them recently. I'm taking a break from saying yes to robot vacuums for now, but I still use and love mine on a daily basis. It's just one less thing I have to do. On this day, I felt like my entire house needed a bit of a tidy after my birthday weekend, but as I'm sure other parents are familiar with, you can just never truly have a plan for the day with toddlers. My oldest son was actually at camp, but my toddler was home with me and I had to take frequent breaks. This is all edited, chopped up, and sped up, so you don't see that, but I felt it was important to note because sometimes I think social media tricks us into thinking that it should always be easy and other moms have it all together and their kids don't interrupt them, but rest assured they do, and you're likely just seeing editing working its magic. We just got back from Hobby Lobby. It took us forever. We hit so much traffic, but this is the fabric that I picked to attempt to upholster my bed frame. Now, our furniture, when I was painting these, I thought this was gray, and it's not. Sorry, it's super out of focus. It's actually kind of like a light, linen-y type of shade, if you know what I mean. And so when I was picking the fabric, I was trying to get something that would be kind of in the same family. It's obviously lighter, but I feel like this could work. So I got this fabric. I honestly don't know what type of fabric this is, but it feels kind of like linen. And then we've got some foam I'm gonna use to make it softer. I also just needed some fabric scissors because I didn't have any. Now I just want to make sure that I add here, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I feel like I can figure it out. I feel like it can't be that hard. Maybe I'll be kicking myself later for saying that, but these materials were, I think it was like 60 bucks or something for the scissors, the poly foam, and the fabric. So if this works out, then I don't need to spend the money on a new bed frame right now. You know, it will buy us some time and hopefully give us like the look that I'm going for, and won't be able to be destroyed by my husband's like short stubby hair scratching off paint anymore. And if my cats scratch at it, it's not that big of a deal because this is just like a quick cheap fix, but who knows, maybe it'll work out and I'll love it. Before I could get to working on my headboard project, I had to get everything out of my way and get our room tidied. I'm sure you're sick of hearing this by now, but our bedroom is very small. It's hard to work in there on anything because space to move around is so limited, so I really just needed to get some crap out of my way. I'm taking off all the bedding so I can actually lift my mattress up, and I figured while I'm at it, I might as well clean under our bed frame. I was honestly shocked how well the robot vacuum gets under our bed because aside from some trash that found its way under there were not many dust bunnies, and it's been a long time since I've done this, so there definitely should have been. But again, since space in our room is so limited, I'm not able to fully move our bed frame to clean under it, so instead I just use my cordless vacuum, which I can actually lay completely flat to get under the bed frame. It's not ideal doing it this way, but it gets the job done. We are on to vacuuming and cleaning up my husband's side of the bed, but you can see here on my left what my issue is with our headboard. My husband has short hair and it's quite scratchy, so that is where he rests his head when he's sitting in bed, and over time it caused the finish to wear off. I attempted to paint it as a fix, but same thing. So here we are attempting to upholster it. I also wanted to add that our bed frame itself is actually broken as well. It broke several years ago when we had a water leak in our apartment and had to pull the bed from the wall in kind of a hurry. But truthfully, I think I got a lemon because that should not have caused a whole support to break. We fixed it enough to make it work, but eventually we will get a new one. When that is, I'm not sure. Bed frames are so expensive, and until it's an absolute necessity, I'd rather just not. This upholstered headboard project is not meant to be a permanent fix. It's a cheap, quick fix just to drag out the time we have this bed frame a little bit longer. All the materials cost me about $60 total, which is much better than a $1,000 plus new one. I think our next bed frame, I'd love to buy an upholstered one, so this is also a good test to see if my cats claw at it before we make an investment like that. I literally looked at one Pinterest post about how to upholster a bed frame and then I winged it after that, so I wouldn't take this as professional advice by any means, but all I did was get some poly foam, line it up with the headboard for some added cushion, and I used a staple gun to attach it. Then I draped my fabric over the headboard. I tried to get it as even and straight as I could. I smoothed it out as much as possible and pulled it tight, and then used my staple gun on the back to attach it. Does it look amazing from the back? No, but you don't see it anyway, so I truly don't care. My headboard doesn't detach from the frame, but I think if you're able to fully remove your headboard, it wouldn't be too hard to make the back look good too. Overall, this process wasn't difficult, but it also didn't come out perfect, and I'm okay with that. Again, a cheap, quick fix, and it looks good from the front, and I'm happy with how it turned out. It'll be a good test to see how my cats handle it and also how we handle it, whether it gets stained or anything over time before we make a decision to invest in a new one. Here is a close-up of how it turned out before I go ahead and make the bed. Again, I'm super happy with how it turned out. It's not perfect, but I think it looks pretty good. We are currently revisiting the idea of putting on an addition on our home. I think if we do, we will put on a primary bedroom and bathroom / closet and potentially even add on a second floor. But with interest rates the way that they are, it's just not realistic for us to buy. We would be looking at like a $6,000 mortgage payment in our area, and that is not realistic. Likely, the most cost-effective way for us to have more space is to put on an addition. I'd love to hear in the comments if any of you have had an addition done, thoughts and opinions on the process and the financial part of things. We're in the very early stages of discussing it, so I could use any insight on any part of it that you have. One thing we've really been working on this year is our outdoor space. We spend a lot of time outside, and for the first 3 years of us being in this house, we really didn't do much to make our outdoor space more fun or usable. My kids and I were playing outside recently, and they wanted me to fill up the pool, so I dragged out the baby pool and filled it up and quickly realized it just wasn't going to work. I got to thinking about what we could do to upgrade our little pool situation, and I thought, what about an inflatable water slide? How fun would that be? But I had no idea how dang expensive those things are. I was searching and just could not find one for a reasonable price, and that is when I thought of Costway. Costway has everything, like seriously everything. We got our fireplace insert from them last year, and this year they were so kind to send us over this inflatable water slide. When I tell you my kids live on this thing, I mean it. We set it up every single day. Sometimes they prefer it blown up just dry and they use it like a bounce house, and other days they like the water on. It's easy to set up, comes with everything you need, including the blower. It's got a punching bag and a basketball hoop, literally a kid's dream, and the quality and price at Costway cannot be beat. If you're on the hunt for something like this, Costway has so many options. This inflatable water slide keeps my kids entertained for literally hours, and I get to chill on this reclining chair. We actually have 2 of these, both from Costway. My husband was building the second one as I was filming these clips, but these are the best. The wood is beautiful. They look so modern. They're comfortable, and you can move the recliner up and down depending on how you'd like to sit, or you can lay flat. I'm obsessed. This is where you will find us all summer long. I will have the water slide and these beautiful reclining chairs linked in my description box if you're interested. And I wanted to say a big thank you to Costway for sending these our way. We are so grateful, and they've really added that missing touch to our outdoor space. I do have a code that will save you 10% off on Costway, so I'll put that on the screen and in the description box for you. Like I said, Costway carries everything from furniture to toys to appliances and home decor, health and beauty, pets, outdoor and garden essentials, everything. So be sure to check them out and use my code to save some money. As I said in the beginning of the video, you're probably wondering how I still have things to declutter, and the answer to that is kids. The funny thing about kids is they don't stay the same for very long. They're constantly growing, their needs are always changing right along with their interests, so stuff is inevitably going to collect when you have kids. I had to go back and check because I couldn't remember, but the last time I decluttered Carson's room was in early April. Since then, we've had a change in the season and multiple birthday parties. It was time to go through it again. Carson does a great job at cleaning his own room, but just like for us adults, when you start to have too much stuff, it becomes really difficult to clean and find places for things. I was noticing him beginning to become frustrated trying to keep up with it, and I knew I had to step in. Plus, the layout of his room was just not functioning for him, and I wanted to take this opportunity to clean, declutter, and rearrange his furniture to give him more floor space. So that's exactly what we're doing. He was actually at camp when I was filming this, having the absolute time of his life, and was super happy when he came home and saw the end result. I do like to include him in the declutter and cleaning process for his space where I can, but I also do like to keep my kids off YouTube and social media as much as possible, so he wasn't there with me for this project. I'm just trying to get some of his laundry put away and get his bed made. I feel like when the bed is unmade, the whole room looks that much messier. So just getting that out of the way. But I wanted to add here that it was the gloomiest day when I was filming this. So unfortunately, the clips are dark and some of them leaning very orange in tones. I think most people watching would not be bothered or maybe even not notice the lighting, but I am my own worst critic and I hate to film when there's no natural light for that reason. One of the easiest things to get rid of is tiny toys. You know what I'm talking about. Happy Meal toys, little keychains, or dollar store goodie bag fillers, random Legos, or things of that nature. Carson had a lot of that stuff shoved into drawers and baskets on his dresser, and if we're being real, he's never touching those things. They lost their novelty about 5 minutes after he got them, so those were the first things to go, and he will literally never ask me what happened to them. While we're going through all the stuff on Carson's dresser, I had a comment recently that got me thinking and I wanted to just talk about it. This viewer said that a lot of my videos are focused on how to declutter, but maybe a video on how to prevent it from building up in the first place would be helpful. I'm not sure I could make a full video on that topic alone, but I will say this. The way in which we buy things these days has vastly changed from the past. We scroll social media and we see a really cute top someone linked, or we see someone's got a walking pad and we think, what a great idea. Maybe I need one of those. It's so easy to get sucked in now because it's in our faces every day and sometimes we don't even realize it. I don't want to sound like I'm bashing social media because I do think there's good in it. It's because of social media that I'm able to stay home with my kids and make an income. However, I don't make my income off of links. I share my one sponsor a week. I get paid a flat rate to talk about it, and if that product resonates with someone, then great, but if it doesn't, that's fine too. I don't expect my viewers or want my viewers to mindlessly buy things they don't need. I think that doom scrolling on TikTok or Instagram is a huge culprit for overspending and over collecting. So something I try to do is limit my time on those apps. Instead, I'll read a book, maybe watch a show, or I'll play a game on my phone, or I'll just plain old spend time with my kids or my husband without any other distractions. If you find yourself having trouble controlling your spending, try doing a social media detox, specifically Instagram and TikTok, and I bet you will notice a difference. I think another culprit for excess clutter has a lot to do with mental health as well. A lot of my clutter collected when I was pregnant with our second baby and in his first year. I actually remember posting on my Instagram story once that a package a day keeps postpartum blues away. And at the time, I truly did need that serotonin boost to get through. When we're sad and dealing with depression, it's harder to do everyday tasks. Simply getting out of bed is hard. Showering and taking care of yourself is hard. Cleaning up the day-to-day mess is hard. It's a recipe for disaster when it comes to collecting clutter. I think prioritizing mental health is a huge way to help avoid the clutter buildup, but I know it's easier said than done from personal experience. So if you've collected clutter and you're finding yourself wondering how it happened and you don't even know where to begin, I want you to be easy with yourself. And if you know someone else whose home is messy and they've got too much stuff, be easy with them too. You just never know what someone has gone through to get to that point. We're all just human and doing the best we can. Decluttering is a super vulnerable thing to share online. It feels very personal. I used to pretty strictly just clean and organize and keep everything pretty surface level. To actually open the drawers and cabinets, open up the bins, and share that clutter that was in my basement and all over my house, that was hard. I like to think that I'm helping someone out there who's feeling overwhelmed and maybe inspiring a few people to tackle whatever clutter and mess they're living with. I've felt a lot of personal growth as well in all of it too. My desire to keep up with the trends is gone. Spending money just to spend money is a thing of the past. I am really grateful for this decluttering journey and hope you've all enjoyed coming along with me on it this year. When I first rearranged Carson's room the way that it was at the start of this video, I think my main issue was that I really wanted to be able to make his bed easier. It was hard to take sheets on and off with the bed against the wall. We also just have small rooms, so I was curious if we'd like this arrangement better, but spoiler alert, it wasn't working. There was just not enough floor space, and it was resulting in any little thing being on the floor, making it difficult to even move around in his room. So we tried it, it didn't work, it's back to the drawing board, and that's fine. I think it looks much better the way we're moving everything now. I think soon his room is due for a new paint job, but I'm hesitant to do that since we don't know if we will end up putting on an addition. If we do end up going through with that, both of our boys will likely end up with new rooms, so I don't want to make any big decisions now until we know for sure what's on the horizon for us. If you're wondering about me like moving the furniture and then vacuuming a little and then moving it more and vacuuming a little more, again, it's just because our rooms are so small and awkward shaped that I can't get completely underneath them by moving the bed frame around. So I just had to keep vacuuming as I went and try to get as much of that up as possible while I was moving everything around. I'm excited that we're going to be able to get to Carson's bookshelf much easier because he was having a really hard time getting into especially the shelves that were closest to his bed. So this is going to be so nice now that everything is moved and he can actually access the things he's trying to without having trouble. I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that there is no fish in that tank that's on his little bookshelf, and there never has been. Carson had a robot fish in there for a while, but we're not ready for any real fish yet. Apparently he was convincing though, because I got a couple comments on my last video in his room saying poor fish. So I wanted to make sure you guys knew there is not one and never was. There are no neglected and sad fish around here. I have always said you can't have too many books, and I've since gone back on that a couple of times. Again, as kids grow and their interests change, the books have got to be gone through. I periodically go through Carson's book collection and weed out the ones he isn't reading and the ones I don't think Sutton will want. I had to do a really good sift through his books. He does have some storybooks he likes, but at this point he's mostly moved on to chapter books. Makes me a little sad. I don't even want to talk about it, but he loves reading Goosebumps and Captain Underpants now, and I wanted to make room for his Goosebumps collection by sifting out some of the stuff he isn't reading. He's also very into sports card collecting and has been shoving binders full of them into this bookshelf, so this corner bookshelf needed just a full overhaul and rearranging. I have talked a lot about how to declutter sentimental items, as this is something I've struggled with myself and continue to have to work on. Books are one of those things I can have a hard time getting rid of, especially my kids' books. But something I've found that helps me is to visualize another baby or toddler from another family enjoying the book, and I feel better about letting them go. I also just try to remember that getting rid of the item does not get rid of the memories that are attached to it. I would love to know, what is one thing in your home that you have a really hard time decluttering? Again, for me, I have a hard time with like sentimental items. I hold a lot of sentimental value in items, and I've definitely been working on that through this whole journey this year, but especially things that have to do with my kids and my kids growing up. I can have a really hard time getting rid of those things, but I have made a lot of progress this year and I'm proud of myself for that. But again, I'd love to hear, what is the hardest thing for you to get rid of in your own home? I had done a project with Carson. I want to say it was maybe a year ago now. I honestly can't remember, but we kind of rearranged his closet so that we could start storing his sports cards in the drawers that you can see here at the bottom of his closet. But he has not been using them for that purpose. He still prefers to put everything into binders. So I think we just need to give up on that dream that he's going to organize them in those drawers and use those drawers for something else. So I'll probably do another overhaul of his room pretty soon, but focusing on his closet because it's not functioning the way that it was intended to, and that's okay. We try things and they fail, and then we try something else and maybe that works out, maybe it doesn't, and that's fine. So stay tuned for that. We'll probably do another deep dive into his room soon, and specifically in the closet. And here is everything that I am decluttering from Carson's room. I was actually surprised how much that contractor bag I was able to fill. Just had a couple more things I wanted to do in here. Take down these old window clings. These were from Thanksgiving, so they needed to come down. And then quickly just clean off the windowsill. I sent the robot vacuum in to do a little bit of tidying, and then I'll share with you how his room is looking after we've done all of our decluttering. It looks so much better. Again, I'm really hoping that you've all enjoyed coming along with me this year on this decluttering journey. There is more to come. It's called a journey for a reason, and I'm hoping to broaden my horizons soon and help others declutter and organize their homes too. There's so much to look forward to. If you're new to my channel, I'd be so happy if you decided to subscribe and come back each week for a new video. Thank you for watching, and I hope you'll come back again next week for another video. Hey!